Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Talking About the Big Stuff podcast with Michael Cole and Matthew Cravat. I am Michael Cole.
And I am Matthew Cravat.
Welcome, everybody, welcome back, everybody, to the
Welcome back for the first time.
Welcome to those of you that are not patrons.
Yeah, welcome to you, those of you who this is your first episode. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe down below. That would be really helpful.
Assuming this is video for you. If it's audio, that'd be silly.
Yeah, if
but
it's
you
audio,
can like it.
You can. So anyway, let's talk. Let's get into. I do not like my lighting right now. I was too white. Now I look jaundice.
Yeah. You're a tick yellow.
I need a better fucking camera. Is what I need. Because like I
do
keep
what I
like
do.
adjusting.
Trick your manager into buying you one. Oh yeah, we don't have jobs. We can't do that anymore.
I am the manager.
He is his own grandpa.
All right. So tonight's episode, I want to talk about art that is, whether it's political or it has a message of, that the message is the message, the political point, whatever it's trying to make, has come and passed, and yet the art still stands. The reason I thought of this was I did a lot of driving around with my son this weekend, and a couple songs came on, and he was asking like, "Oh, what is this song about?" One of them was Fancy, by the way. And that's not a joke. That's not a joke, Alex. That genuinely happened. And Fancy was his name. So no, but one of the songs was the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks. Their song. What is the name of that song? Is it
Shame on You?
Not Ready to Back Down. Chicks, Not Ready to Make Nice.
Yeah, okay, that's another good one.
So
that must be your favorite band, Alex, because you can actually say, "Did you see the Chicks?" I was listening to the Chicks. I love those chicks. God. They're good chicks.
That is so funny. You were about to. So you went that way. I thought you knew that it's one of my wife's favorite groups, and it really is. So that.
She hasn't mentioned that. Usually, we're not talking about bands.
He doesn't love that they got rid of the Dixie. That's the problem.
Oh yeah. I have such a problem with that. I mean, to be honest, I have a problem with that they're chicks, and when I call them that, they get super upset.
So anyway, we were listening. That song came on, and Logan was like, "What's this song about?" And I was like, "It's
Angry
hard.
women."
It's kind of hard. There's so much backstory to explain to that song, right? Yeah. Because I have to kind of explain to him that George W. Bush put us into the Iraq War, and that a lot of people didn't like the Iraq War, and that George Bush was the governor of Texas, was from Texas, and that the Dixie Chicks are from. There was so much going on there.
Yeah.
And then, like the idea that they said, I mean, literally the thing that they said in that pissed everybody off was, "We're ashamed to be from the same place that." Yeah,
I think they apologized for him because of being from Texas. Yeah.
They were in Europe.
They were in England or something. They weren't even in the U.S. So it was in front of foreigners that they did that.
They said something along the lines of like, "We're ashamed to be from the same state as George Bush," and they were, and in the song she talks about like, getting death threats, like, "Shut up and sing or your life will be over," like is what one of the lyrics is. And I'm explaining that to Logan, and I'm like, that seems so odd when you juxtapose with today's like crazy, like, can you imagine saying like, "I'm actually kind of ashamed to be from New York because that's where President Trump is," and having people go,
"I'm very proud that all New Yorkers hate him."
But having people threaten your life over that, like much as there is a lot of crazy vitriol.
I have a friend who has about 100,000 followers across multiple platforms, who does liberal videos and stuff, and he gets death threats in his direct messages all the time. Yeah, sure,
but I'm saying, but the things that you have to say now to get those death threats, like for anti-Trump stuff that you'd have to say to get a death threat, is going to be, I think, significantly more incendiary than Alex. It's distracting when you're playing with all the stuff.
Stop! I'm just trying to make it so you can read them.
It's like you would have to. I don't think if you said, "I'm ashamed to be from the same," I think people would be like, "Shut up, liberal, or and they might say some not nice things, but I don't think they would threaten your life over it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I mean, I'm
But
sure
also being women doesn't
Sure.
help.
that did not help things.
True.
Yeah.
And outspoken ones.
So, like, there was just so much in there, and I just like, it's funny because in one layer it is just as relevant today, and in another layer it's not, because George W. Bush, like, it's been said a million times, but like,
Yeah, so it becomes
doesn't like black people.
From my old English major days, the microcosm versus the macrocosm. So, like, in the microcosm, they were discussing a specific event, the backlash they got for speaking their political truth in public. But in the macrocosm, it's speak your political truth no matter what it is. Don't back down from whatever your truth is. Don't be afraid of the threats, no matter, because it was just, the song was about one particular example of it, but the greater motif is an eternal motif.
Exactly. And that was kind of where I was like, so once I came up with this idea, I was like, oh, all the examples do work on multiple layers. And that's kind of where I think art can kind of, we look at the Odyssey just came out last weekend, and the Odyssey is 3,000 years old or something. And yet there's a relevance beyond just, it's a fun story. Like, there's a relevance to it. It is art that has held up. And when you look at like that, like the Dixie Chicks, the Chicks song, they were the Dixie Chicks at the time. That
don't dead name the Chicks.
That is held up, and in a lot of ways, it's a good song.
Of course, that's a political statement too. The fact there's a reason they took Dixie out of their name.
Yeah. And then the other song that like always surprises him is because it's like one of 3 Bob Dylan songs that I actually like is Hurricane, which is about Hurricane Carter. And he knew who Bob Dylan was because the Timothée Chalamet movie came out last year. And so he knows Bob Dylan and that he's a white guy. And then we were listening to it, and Bob Dylan says the N-word in that song. And he was like, he said the N-word? And I'm like, yeah. And, there's like there's so much explanation there. And that song, again, is, Hurricane Carter has been dead for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
But that song is still ridiculously relevant if you just take out the specificity of it, because it's about race relations and with the police. Like, unfortunately, that is seemingly evergreen in this country.
Yeah.
But like, the specifics of it are, like we don't have that particular, we haven't had, as far as I know, we haven't had any like big celebrities arrested for political things for more than like a night, going to a protest, spending a night in jail. But like, Muhammad Ali spent a fair amount of time in jail, and then Hurricane Carter spent. But instead, what we have now is we have all kinds of examples.
We have every
of
Republican-owned radio station not playing the Chicks.
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, that's what happens now. There's not a jail now. There's the cancel ability to be fired from your late night TV show. It's the most popular late night TV show on television because the government threatened the merger that your boss wants to have.
So anyway, that's what I wanted to start talking about, and hopefully you guys.
Yeah, I've been actually telling Leah, my daughter, for those of you who don't know, who's a singer-songwriter, that does all kinds of music, from folk music to pop music to bluegrass, country, whatever. She Beatles. There's a song. I don't know if you guys are familiar with John Prine. Some of his songs that he wrote, and even if he did a lot of them, his recordings weren't the most popular versions, but you've heard his stuff because everyone has. It's in the culture. But one of his songs was he died during the pandemic, so it's just fresh. But one of his songs was "Your flag decal won't get you into heaven anymore," and it's basically a Vietnam protest song. But the lyrics are about. It starts out, he's in a bookstore and he's looking at a Reader's Digest, and a flag decal falls out of it. And he goes, "Ooh, this is great. I love a flag decal." And runs out to his car and puts it on his car. And he's like, "Oh, if I can just, see Betsy Ross, I'd give her a kiss and tell her how proud I am of this flag." And then there's, then the chorus is that, oh, your flag decal won't get you into heaven anymore. It's already overcrowded from your filthy little war. Jesus don't like killing, no matter what the reason for. Your flag decal won't get you into heaven anymore. And then there's like a lyric about him going, and this is where it becomes completely non-relatable to today's kids. I mean, going into a bookstore to read through a magazine, that's a little iffy right there.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I went into the bank to open a new account, and they said, hey, if you open the new Christmas account, we'll give you 10 of those nice, flag decals that you like so much. Oh, sign me up. And they put those on the car, and it's all and then it's the same chorus, but it's the same. Every verse is a different way that he got flag decals.
Yeah.
And then the end punchline kind of be, he puts so many decals on his car, he can't see out the car window, and he crashes and dies. And when he gets to heaven, he's all excited to be in heaven, and then St. Peter tells him, sings the chorus to him, your flag decals won't get you into heaven anymore. Yeah. And so regardless of the fact that the kids won't understand why you open a bank account to get a free gift, and being in a bookstore, like all the examples are cultural touch points from the early 70s that kids today wouldn't get really. But the idea that your patriotism in supporting a war is not what God wants you to do. Jesus wouldn't support you, because you waved the flag while you killed brown people.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be a cool song for Leah to learn, even though all the verses are kind of like, that's anachronistic. What? Well,
right.
Why would you sing about those things? But the chorus is forever. Your flag decal won't get you into heaven.
Yeah. And that is kind of where, with all this art, where it kind of like becomes interesting, is that like we're so, like I know that humankind is history is doomed to repeat itself, right? But also the amount that society's done it, like Vietnam and then Iraq, and now we're in Iran, and and that's like, Iraq was a little more winnable in a way, I guess. Like, I don't think Iraq was the same level of like just complete clusterfuck as far as militarily.
I don't know if Iraq belongs on the list because of that, because it was a very winnable situation.
Right.
But I will go back to the greatest historical documentary ever made, Rambo 3. And in Rambo 3, they talk about, the key is like Rambo teams up with the Mujahideen, the precursors to Al-Qaeda, to help get some prisoners back that the Russians took, and they're in Afghanistan. And the colonel makes this whole speech about how Afghanistan is Russia's Vietnam. These people have been at war for 1,000 years. They'll be at a war for another 1,000 years. You can't win a war here. It's just not possible. And just like we were stupid enough to go into Vietnam, where there was no way we could win a ground war in Vietnam. Yeah. There's no way Russia could be, look how dumb Russia is to not have learned our lesson. And then we go and do the same thing, getting into the same war in Afghanistan with the people who we were friends with in Rambo 3. Yeah. And can I just for a second, First Blood, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3. The numbering system makes no fucking sense. It's bothered me since I was in high school.
Rambo, Too Furious is my favorite.
That's the best one. But it's like, I love it. It's in the zeitgeist of, they're Vietnam. And then we went to war in the same country that a Rambo movie made fun of Russia for going into war over. Yeah. Like it wasn't like it wasn't unknown that war is not useful there.
Yeah. And then there is also the like unintentionally ironic use of art too.
It's pronounced ironic.
Erotic, yeah. No, I said ironic.
I know, it's ironic.
Ironic.
Tehran, ironic. If something's from Iran, it's ironic.
Okay.
We don't say Tehran.
And we say tyrannical.
Good point.
My point was that, like, there's this other level of art that, like, is that we appreciate it on a much more earnest, missing the point level. And, we talked about that a couple weeks ago with 4th of July with, was it Creedence Clearwater that does the Fortunate Son?
Fortunate Son, yeah, that's CCR.
And it's people were playing that as like, that was the Bruce Springsteen Born in the USA, as like pro-America stuff. And it's like, okay, you need to pay attention to the, you know,
Go
like
back and listen to the lyrics.
they're still great songs. They still hold
listen
up,
to the lyrics,
but
Dopey.
you're
Right.
not using them right. Like, you know, and then
Same as my favorite example for the youngins in the audience. "This Land Is Your Land" is a huge protest song. It's not a happy song about America and how it's our country. It's about how we stole it from the Indians. That's what the song's about.
and that's Woody Guthrie, right? He has a song, and I'm gonna space on the name of it, but it might literally be called "Old Man Trump," and it's about Donald Trump's father, which is funny too. Like, it's where he's like talking about how. Let me find it real quick. "Old Man Trump" is about Fred Trump, and it was written in 1954, and it's basically like Beach Haven looks like heaven where no black folks come to roam. No,
It's about
no,
what a
no, Old
racist
Man
he
Trump.
was in his housing rules, and Donald continued those same things. He was sued all through the 70s for racist stuff.
Yeah. But my favorite up until this 4th of July, when I realized how much they do it with those ones, is for a Christmas song that people play on Christmas radio, and I actually genuinely love the song, but it's not
Grandma
a Christmas
got
song.
killed over by a reindeer. Like it's about a tragedy. It's weird that people are happy with it.
No, John Lennon. "So This Is Christmas."
So this is Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And people are like, "Yeah, it's a great Christmas song," and I'm like, "Are you listening to it? It's sarcastic."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What do you mean it's sarcastic?" I'm like, "Well, okay, again, that's another one you have to explain the entire context, because it's now 100+ years later, and it's like, and there, you know, okay, in World War I, there was a semi ceasefire for Christmas, and
both the 13th and First Doctor were both there at the same time.
Yeah.
Timey-wimey thing.
And people came out of the trenches, and the Germans drank and laughed and sang with the Americans or the British or whoever. Yeah, I didn't know when.
That's why the doctors were there.
Yeah, well, I know the British were there the whole time, but Americans were there at some points.
Yeah, but who cares about them?
So anyway, so that, you know, they did that, and then once they were, you know, Christmas was over and they were ordered back to their trenches.
Singing you with you is great. Shooting you tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't shoot each other. They refused to. It was a great sign of this human camaraderie, until the generals were like, "All right, you move a mile that way," and the Germans would like move a mile that way, and they're like, "You don't know these guys. Shoot them." And it's like, okay, like we almost got, like, it is this like somewhat like hopeful moment,
and
followed by the most cynical, and it does play out that way, right? Like, it's not just they were cynical and then, like, it would be a great story. It would be a genuinely great story if they refused to shoot at all, regardless of where you moved them in line. But instead, it's just like, oh, I don't know Klaus over there. I knew, you know,
Wilhelm. It was Wilhelm. Yeah. It's funny. I remember in one of my history classes watching a movie that was supposedly very realistically well done about World War One, and it was about how these prisoners were taken by the British, I think, officers were taken by the German officers, but they both aristocracy, and they were, instead of being in a prison camp, they were in the castle, you know, as like honored guests, because it was kind of a more dignified war on that level. While it was trench warfare and it was the most brutal war in its time, there was also, the Germans weren't evil. It wasn't like the Nazis. It was purely a land war and an ally versus ally, and, you know, a thing that escalated. It was a very different kind of war than World War II, when things suddenly changed, and it was, you want to kill the Nazis because they're evil, doing evil things, not, oh, our generals are making us shoot at each other.
Right. And that, I mean, I liked Wonder Woman, but that was one of my problems with the Wonder Woman movie, is that there was a little bit of, and I'm sure there were evil people, but there were evil Americans, and there's evil people on both sides. But you know, that's World War One, and they and it's very clear that for pop culture reasons, you have to treat Germans like Nazis if you're not making a what do you call it? Like a nuanced take on it. You know, like other
Their
movies have done.
nuanced take was that it was Ares. It wasn't the Germans. It wasn't the people.
Sure.
It was the god influencing them.
Right, but there was the woman who was doing the nerve gas and like trying to really escalate.
It is the war that started using mustard gas and trench warfare. I mean, the actual battles were the most brutal ever.
Yeah. Yep.
But
anyway,
your flag decal won't get you into heaven anymore.
Anyway,
but I think there's any good form of the art is going to be, this is the example, but the message is not like the message of this is Christmas is not this one time and Christmas Day in 1918, things were shitty. It's look, here's how hypocritical we are. We love each other on one day, we kill each other on the next. And that's true every day. This is just one example of it.
Right.
But I was thinking, another example is every single love song ever written ever. It's always about two particular people, usually the singer and the person they love. But it's not. It's about love songs. Like the idea is that anyone can relate to it. The story of Jolene is not just, I mean, it's a true story, theoretically. But it's about everyone who almost lost the person they love to somebody else. Like everyone's supposed to relate to it.
So I agree with you, and that's an interesting thing about art, where like when you get into what people would call shittier art, the music of the last 30 plus years, when there's like a genericness to it that people really like latch on, like it's aimed at teen girls, and so Bo Burnham has a bit where he goes, I have to look it up because it's hilarious, but I like the way you're it's like kind of shortish, fattish, kind of tallish, thinnish, like trying to cover all your bases.
Yeah.
And there is a cynicism to that of like, you can't appreciate a love song if it doesn't describe you. Like I appreciate love songs that do, like I think that there are love songs, that are very clearly men singing to other men, or women singing to other women, or
come to my window.
Yeah, I think if you listen to
that was a love song when I was in high school, but it turned out it was written by a lesbian, and the person that she wanted to come to her window was another lesbian. Everyone thought it was a boy and girl love song, but that's never explicitly said because that's not what was in her head.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't make a difference because a love song's a love song. See, I think the key is in this regard is, and this is probably a whole nother podcast, the difference between the categories of arts and crafts, right? I don't think everything that, like music is an art form, but not everyone who makes music is making art. Some people are just doing the craft.
Right.
There are things I can pick up a paintbrush and I can draw a house with a person and a doggy in front of it, but it's not art when I did it. It's just the craft of painting because I'm not good enough to create art.
Yeah.
So the songs that you churn out that are popular hit songs that don't stand the test of time and don't move people and people don't relate to, those aren't art. Those are just the craft of creating music.
Right. So this is the first, I'm just going to read the first verse of this Bo Burnham song called Repeat Stuff. And it's, I love your hair, I love your name, I love the way you say it. I love your heart and you're so smart because you gave away it. I love your sis, I love your dad, I love your mom. But more than all of that, I love the fact that you are dumb enough to not realize everything I've said has been said before in 1,000 ways, in 1,000 songs, sung with the same 4 chords. But you still love me and let me finger you. Yeah, finger you, finger you. And basically, like, the whole song goes on, like, about how you just have to, like, hit these, like, very, here's a better line. I love how your torso has an arm on either side. And then and it says, my agents are, if you're my agent, you might be thinking, oh no, sound the alarms. You're not appealing to little girls who don't have arms, but they can't use iTunes. So fuck them. Who needs them?
Oh, God. Bo Burnham is a magician and crazy at the same time.
So there's a lyricist who's not as good as Bo Burnham.
Sure.
Had a similar take. Sort of. I'm going to read something else. Maybe he stole it from Bo. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads upon the ground. And yet by heaven I think my love is rare, as any she belied with false compare. And that is, what is that? You guys know what it is? Who wrote it?
I'm feeling like it's Shakespeare.
It is Shakespeare's Sonnet 130, My Mistress Eyes Nothing Like the Sun, which I quoted in my wedding vows to my wife. But the whole point of it is every other sonnet is blonde hair, perfumed breath, rosy cheeks, porcelain skin, like every other sonnet. And he's like, all that stuff is garbage. I love my mistress, even though she has black hair and she doesn't have the best breath, and she's just a regular, person. And but it's like the same idea, the same target as Bo, that every song is the same. Everyone's trying to hit those things, and he's like, every other poet is making this. Even him, his other poems are all to the same, imaginary perfect woman that the Pam Anderson is we're all describing, and he's like, but, it doesn't have to be that.
Well, I didn't read the intro bits and stuff, but Bo Burnham talks about like how there's just again like a cynicism to it. He talks about country and how there's amazing country writers, and then he goes into about like but there's this like we figured out the formula, and the formula is if you think I'm describing you, you're gonna love the song, and with country he talks about like how you're pandering and it's like a cold beer. Like you just sing the same
gold beer truck, girl,
simple noun, rural noun, simple adjective.
rural noun, simple.
There's a
let me present you the formula for making a country song.
Well, so there's a great song by David Allan Coe, which I think Scott Goodman may have written it for him. I'm not sure, but anyway, David Allan Coe recorded a song, and it's you may have heard it. It's a country classic. It's, you don't have to call me darling, darling. You never even call me by my name. And it's super 70s country. You don't have to call me darling,
darling.
You never even call me by my name. And then he does it like 2 or 3 verses, and then he'll say, my friend Scott Goodman wrote that song, and he sent it to me and said, I have written the perfect country music song. And I wrote back and said, you did not write the perfect country music song, because you didn't mention mama or a dog or a train or a big holiday like Christmas or prison, And so he sent back this last verse, and I had to admit, he wrote the perfect country music song. It's like, it was raining when I went to pick my mama up from prison, but she got hit by but then she got hit by a train, and my dog was crying in my pickup truck, and it was just like all those things and that was in the mid 70s. In a popular country music song, he was making fun of the genre.
So my ability is probably how I'll frame it, to separate the artist from what they produce. I can just severely dislike the person, but I can still appreciate and enjoy the art.
Sometimes it depends on the issue. So, like, my wife hates Tom Cruise with a passion because he went
is
on,
a couch jumping weirdo.
Well, it wasn't the couch jumping so much. He went after Brooke Shields when she talked about her postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And as a Scientologist, he doesn't believe in postpartum depression. He doesn't believe in depression. He thinks mental health is all garbage.
Yeah.
Psychiatrists
are
all a scam.
All of it.
And the whole thing. Yeah. So she hates him for that vehemently, to the point where she got rid of her Top Cruise, not just Top Gun, not just her Top Gun DVD. She got rid of the soundtrack because she couldn't even listen to it without getting pissed. And so we don't generally watch Tom Cruise movies in our house. But the Day After Tomorrow, is that the one that's City of Tomorrow? What's the one that goes over?
City, I think.
No, it's not. I'm looking. Hold on.
The good one.
It's Live Die Repeat is the comic, and then they kind of rebranded it that at some point. Live Die Repeat. It's Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, I knew it was one of those things. Yeah, I mean that.
It's my favorite thing, edging. Why couldn't I remember?
Edging to Tom Cruise. You love that. And I when she's not around, I love that movie. And I don't usually like his movies. I don't watch his movies. I don't like him, and I don't want to support him. but I really like that one particular movie. So I can separate it, watch him. And I can watch Mission Impossible. Like I'll watch him when she's not around. I won't go out of my way, but I will. Where I cannot watch a Bill Cosby stand-up without instantly thinking about the horrible things he did, and I cannot enjoy. I can't laugh at Bill Cosby. I don't have the ability to. And like it's not a decision; it's just the way it is.
So okay, no, perfect situation. Okay, I'm more polarizing with this with music and visual art than I am with like written work and stuff like that. So I can absolutely love art pieces or sculptures made by some really evil people. But at the same time, as soon as it's like an online like comedian or something, the moment I find out that that individual supports anything in our current administration, I immediately stop following, consuming the content, supporting, whether it's financial or otherwise. Like I cut it off right away. So I have this hard division when it's no longer when it's no
Yeah. Now, I have the conscious choice not to financially support the artists I don't want to financially support because of what they do and what they support. But that's different than watching a stream of it where it's an older movie and they're not getting money necessarily from me watching.
And that's the bigger part. It's I don't feel that I'm like actively giving something to them. Yeah. But I'll pay the admission fee to a museum to see it.
I think there is a tough, when you talk about separating art from artists, though, there is also a tough thing where it's like Woody Allen is a good example. Bill Cosby can be a good example too, but Woody Allen is the best example because Woody Allen's been accused of abusing his daughter, and he's married to his stepdaughter, and he made like 12 movies in which he was dating underage women.
I don't see anything in his art that indicates that he was a sexual creep. I mean, okay, if you take out his entire collection of movies, there's nothing left.
And it's not even like it's the character he plays it. It's not even like
he plays himself.
He didn't.
But he also wrote it himself. Like he wrote himself to be that.
Right.
But you could assign that away or whatever. And Bill Cosby has. There's an episode of the Cosby Show where he. All the couples were fighting, his kids and their spouses were fighting, and he put something in the rib sauce and they're all getting real horny for each other. And he talked about Spanish Fly in his early stand-up, so there is okay, is it dad is great, dad gives us chocolate cake, or is it here's Bill Cosby talking about roofing people, talking about it.
Most of his things, most of his stand-up and the Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids show, and it was all based on his original stand-up, which was based on his friends when he was growing up. Like that was his peer group. Yeah. Most of the stuff in his stand-up was about him as a dad. Most of the stuff the TV show is based on started when it was based on his stand-up before writers had to fill it in to do seasons and seasons. This is me, this is my true story. These are anecdotes from my life. So why wouldn't that one be? Especially if he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. Because even if you look at old music from the 60s and 70s and stuff, you have songs about adult men with teenage girls all the time because it wasn't as taboo. So they were happy to talk about, she's just 17 or rock and roll queen. These things about these young girls. And the Monkees had a bunch of about 16-year-old girls when they were in their mid-20s. But that wasn't considered taboo. So
Aerosmith
it came up.
And Steven Tyler's going on trial next month.
Yep.
It's not. I listened to something with Aerosmith. I feel like it was "Walk This Way," but there was some line, and I was like, "Oh, that line." Now, given and it was never not it was never not about that, but there is a hypothetical thing that we can do with our head about this is art, and then once that's broken, that can really.
Yeah. So my personal example of it, in improv, if you watch Whose Line Is It Anyway, this is a classic improv thing. You have seen it. There's a thing called World's Worst, where they say the world's worst example of X, and the players take turns saying the world's worst thing. My group is a little more sophisticated. We did it as a kind of a character game. So it's come out
Okay.
and be the world's worst example. Don't just say it, be that person. So the
Yeah.
world's worst preschool teacher, and you come out and you be a terrible, okay, everybody, get your band saws up and running. So you actually do the character doing it, not just say a teacher who has a band saw in the class. Like, you don't just say it.
Yeah.
So we had, I don't remember the exact details, so I will make a version of it. We're in a bar, my old group, The Product, and it's the world's worst babysitter, say. And I walk over and I was like, hey, you're pretty cute for a 7-year-old. And audience laughs. And then a minute or two later, the suggestion is preschool teacher. And Frank gets up, and a producer, I was a director, he was the producer of the group. He gets up and he goes, hey, you're pretty cute for a 7-year-old. Call back to my joke. The audience boos him, like moans and boons, when they laughed and clapped at me. And he goes, hey, you laughed when Cravat said it. And they get quiet for a second because they don't know why there was a difference. And then Mikey, who was in my group at the time, calls out from the back line, yeah, because Matthew doesn't sound like he means it. And then everybody laughed again. That was the difference. Frank is a creepy guy. He could have meant it. Like, they didn't.
That's funny. Frank is a creepy guy.
He's
wild and creepy guy.
Yeah, he moved to
I
California.
like
He moved to California to do porn, not to act in porn, but he was also an artist, and he worked for Adam and Eve, which is out of North Carolina, doing the packaging for porn DVDs, and he won like a VCA or whatever it is, the porn awards. He won an award. He did like a honeymoon thing, and there was a men's version and the women's version. It was like, one was a tux, and you take off all the layers of the tux to get into the box of the DVD, and the women's one was like the dress and then the bustier and then the lingerie to get to open before you can open the box. So after he won the award, he got job offers from is it Van Nuys, California, where all the porn companies are, but outside of LA, where all the porn companies are based. It's
237 Van Dyke Road in Ventura
Boulevard. Yeah. So he moved out to do porn stuff professionally. He's kind of a creepy guy, but he's lucky he did, because the reason he did was he was on the verge of getting fired from his job at Adam and Eve for being inappropriate to coworkers. He was at the sex toy and movie place, and he was going to get fired for inappropriateness.
Adam and Eve has extremely strict rules.
Don't eat the apple.
Don't eat the apple.
Don't eat anybody's fruit out of their garden.
Weirdly enough, the person that I'm going to make reference to, I met through your friend Kevin when I was working on a short film with Kevin. Yeah, and
it's just mine.
Well, yeah. I mean, but like, I'm making it so that you understand who I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Bo Burnham thing. I have to be able to relate to it, or I won't understand the story.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just weird that you had that friend, and now Kevin knew somebody who really nice guy who was working on this short film with us it was one of those 48-hour film festivals a few years ago, and really nice guy. It's telling us that he used to work at Adam and Eve. I think he was like a contracts person or something. He would, and when they're doing Adam and Eve will not, when they're producing film or video, they're not using film anymore. When they're producing videos, it's like 100% consensual. Meaning like the content of the thing is 100%, not even like there's, and he was like someone wanted to shoot a scene where a woman wakes a guy up with oral, and it's like, that's not consensual. And unless you want to shoot a scene
at night where he goes, hey, if you want to wake me up with oral, I'm up for it. Yeah.
And so they wouldn't greenlight it. And so they were like extremely like strict. So that makes me feel good when I shop at Adam and Eve to know that they're, doing their part. And then when you say, he was about to get fired from Adam and Eve for being inappropriate, it's like, yeah, I mean, they're not, they're not what you think of when you think of a porn company. And they were started originally as like, weren't they like a condom not a manufacturer, but like a condom service or something.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know they were sex toys and stuff before they were movies. Before, and then they were selling movies, and then they eventually were producing them. Like I know they definitely went through it. They grew and they grew. I think
they're local.
I think they're out of Pittsburgh, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. It's really, really where I want to go. If I could ever get out of here, I'll move to Pittsburgh.
I don't think I like driving through Pittsburgh.
That's where I want to go. Sorry.
Well, my car won't make it out to RTP. It costs too much to live in North Raleigh. Apex and Cary, they just laugh at me.
Okay.
Wake Forest just said no.
Adam and Eve. The firm was founded in 1970 by British physician Tim Black, an American entrepreneur, philanthropist, and libertarian Phil Harvey.
I like how you went libertarian.
Like, how is that relevant?
In 1970, which is pre Roe v. Wade, it may have been relevant. The libertarian thing. And again,
registered notary, public notary with the
But it was a small storefront. It was a small storefront in Chapel Hill selling condoms and lubricants. It soon became a mail order catalog selling contraceptives through non-medical channels. So this is 2 or 3 years pre Roe v. Wade.
It's an American success story how it grew
from
a simple rubber company to a purveyor of ethical porn.
Yeah, but from what I remember, there was
supporter of very many podcasts. So like when we're ready to do our first ad, Adam and Eve, call us.
Yeah, Adam and Eve. I've only said nice things about you so far.
I spent a lot of money with you, Adam.
You had to say so far, like.
Well, I mean, you get the point.
Who knows? They might say something bad eventually.
So back to the original. I mean, I don't. Back to art.
Like a Garfunkel.
Yeah. I guess.
Let me just. I need to. The Pittsburgh song is copyright Eric Anderson, Pittsburgh. Just so I can make sure that I properly attribute.
So I swore you were just pulling that off on your own, and I was like,
no,
man.
I was the former musical director of Raleigh's Village Idiots, Eric Anderson. That was one of Eric's songs. News and Observer had a contest, win $1,000 writing a ditty for your city, and he figured everybody would write about Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, so he wrote about Pittsburgh.
I like that.
Nice.
And when Samantha and Mikey hear it, they're just going to be singing along. Now it's stuck in their heads because they were there for those days. Mikey sang harmonies with Eric in our shows, so it's in the heads.
Anyway, back to Tom Cruise for a minute.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise has his first acting movie in a decade. Like when I say acting movie, I mean not
action, a drama.
Right.
No, I mean he's actually doing something other than just being Tom Cruise.
Because usually he does all his own stunts, but a stunt actor does all the acting scenes. So.
Yeah.
Call in someone who can read.
I mean, I'm not saying I think the Mission Impossible movies are good.
We get what you're saying. This is a drama. This one's you're there for the story and the character and the relationships. You're not there for the explosions.
Right. And I'm excited. I'm kind of excited for it. I don't have the same hang-ups about Tom Cruise as your family does.
Yeah, it's my wife's hang-up because she had postpartum depression, and he basically said it's because your diet wasn't good.
I absolutely understand that.
Yeah. But it was an attack on her. It wasn't an attack on you. Nobody cares about your diet.
Right. Well,
of course, he does say that all your mental health issues are quote unquote in your head, like that it's all just because you're not healthy, physically healthy.
Yeah, but so does half my family.
By name, he mentioned you by name. Just
which was cool because I was only 20. So
no, I mean last week I was talking to him last week.
I'm gonna tell Madhavi you were talking to him. All right.
Can't help he was out cruising.
Nice. I liked when he was dating Penelope Cruz. Somebody asked him if they were going to hyphenate if they got married, and because that's I like a lot of his movies, but he has no chill when it comes to somebody saying something that he thinks is funny. It is
That's true.
Maniacal. It is absolutely
supercuts of him on Graham Norton. He's so weird.
And you're like, what are you doing? Just be like a normal person.
Was it Seth MacFarlane, I think, doing impersonations in front of him, and he was freaking out like it's magic in front of him that you can make your voice sound different?
Yeah. Yeah, it's called acting.
Try it sometime.
No, he's been good in a few like he's been a good he's acted well. Like
So when I was young, when I was a young warthog, I was once in a drugstore on Broadway, down in the village, the lower parts of Broadway, and and this girl started talking to me. You know, we were like college age or whatever, maybe a little older. And she said, "You look so familiar." You know what it is? You look like Tom Cruise. You remind me of Tom Cruise. And I wasn't. I knew Tom Cruise was a risky business guy. And I was like, okay, cool. And then a year or two later, I realized, oh, he's a huge sex symbol. That was a flirt. She was flirting with me, saying I look like Tom Cruise. Oh, yeah, I should have caught that.
You look like Tom Cruise on Tom Cruise's shoulders. I will say I've heard that he is he's been like distancing himself from Scientology a bit.
Yeah. Or is Scientology distancing themselves from him?
No. He is still on top of the world. And they are holding on for dear life.
That was great.
They're
he needs to do one of those videos where he runs inside with a camera to see how far he can get. Tom, you're allowed here. You have an office. What are you doing? You have an office.
You can be right.
Doing the Tom Cruise run.
But they've had a really
you don't have
bad
to run.
few.
You're allowed here. No, I've got to go.
They've had bad PR for the last few years, and
the last 30 years.
No, but it's gotten worse with Danny Masterson and all that stuff, and so he's been distancing himself. And also, when he said the stuff about postpartum and depression and all the other stuff, was right like as he was becoming the poster boy for it, and so
because they gave him wife after wife. Here's another young wife for you. Here's another young wife for you.
I will say of all the current Scientologists, he seems like the least problematic, which is such a weird.
The worst has got to be John Travolta, and not for anything he did to another individual, but for making us fucking have to have Battlefield Earth exist in the world.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Is this a gun or is this a lampshade? What is this?
I remember
now I can't get gunned out of my head.
A girl I went to college with.
Bleach solution.
She hated the term fupa, and she would always say, "I prefer gunt to fupa."
Isn't Fupa one of the bad guys in Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, he's
the Fupa Troopa.
I've called them that before, and Sarah gives me this look whenever I say Fupa in front of Logan, and
she really does not want him starting to make that his thing, does she?
Well, no, but because he'll ask, he always asks, and I will just explain when he asks things, and so she doesn't like when I say things because she knows if he asks, I'll be like, it's fatty upper pussy area, and Anyway, so do we have any last thoughts before we start to get to the spiels? Oh,
this podcast will go down in history as something that outlives the references and still has meaning.
One would hope.
So, one last thing I want to say before we dive into that. It's not at all related to the topic of the episode. It's just something I think you guys never responded to my text about, so I wanted to tell you anyway. Yesterday, so my nephew is turning 14 next month, and I said, "Oh, we should get him like a birthday card that's like, you're a man now, get a job." And Logan goes, "We can get him one of those Jewish man cards."
I read it to my wife. We were in a grocery store, and I read it to her.
And I was like, "You mean a bar mitzvah card?" And he goes, "Yeah."
A year too late, you stupid fuck.
But it was so funny to me that he called it a Jewish man card.
That reminds me of, hey, Mikey, you'll know this one, an old one. When Mikey and I first started becoming friends, his wife very traditionally makes fudge for everybody for Christmas. And she was like, "Oh, I made some Christmas fudge for your friend Matthew." And he was like, "Well, he's Jewish." And she goes, "Well, give it to him for Jewish Christmas."
Nice.
And I was like, "Wait, we came first, man. You have fucking Christian Hanukkah."
Christian Hanukkah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. And with that, let's start wrapping things up, Matthew. You can.
Hey, everyone who is watching this video, you know what you should be doing? You should be liking the video. You should be subscribing to our channel. It doesn't hurt you to subscribe to the channel, but it helps us. You'd be a sweetheart if you did. And if you really dig in what you're watching, go ahead and ring the notification bell, and you'll know when we post all new things. And you'll know when we're going live, because we go live on usually 6:30 on Mondays, but not always. Sometimes we mix it up. You never know. And if you get the alert that we're going live, you will get to hear completely unedited versions of what we do, unlike the audio, which is often edited. Right, Mike?
Yes, and if you want to get the unedited stuff and you don't want to show up live, you can always go to our Patreon at patreon.com/talking about the big stuff.
Patreon.com/talking about the big stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You made me doubt it for a second the way you said it. I'm
No,
like,
just
did I say it
remember
wrong?
we used to say
whatever.
We used to say it over and over
Yeah,
again, because
yeah.
the more times you say it, the more likely someone will remember patreon.com/talking about the big stuff. And so I was supposed to ask patreon.com talking about the big stuff, and then you or Alex could chime in with, yes, Matthew, patreon.com/talking about the big stuff.
I was
Yeah,
also
good
a
point.
little thrown off because Alex was giving me the finger when you said that. He was doing this right here.
He was drooling for you.
Anyway, so if you go to patreon.com/talking about the big stuff, there are 4 tiers that you're going to see. There is a $0 tier. At the very least, please go subscribe for free, because that helps us. Algorithms are important, and we need your help in that way. It also will let you know when stuff's coming. The $1 version, if you are feeling up to it, is $1 a month. And we usually do 4 to 5 episodes a month, depending on the layout of the month. And that gets you the episodes days early. The $3 version gets you a bunch of extra stuff, pretty much uncensored. The $10 version gets you a bunch of things we record before the show, like a conversation that we had tonight.
And if there was anything so horrible like Alex's collections that didn't even make it to the $3 version, you'll still get it in $10.
Yeah, there is a fair amount of stuff that I'm going to have to cut out for YouTube today.
Stuff that you weren't even here for. You don't even know about his masturbatory practices with Flesh.
Yeah. I mean, I usually do it with Flash.
With Flash, what else do you?
Not sure
someone else's
Flesh from the 40s.
All right. Anyway, so okay, and then so that's the $10 version. All those prices are per month. The free is free per month, and it's helpful to us. If you do it, I will get better lighting. Alex will get a quieter microphone. Matthew will get a louder microphone.
Alex, you get a proper freaking mic.
And so that would be great. Matthew, you got any last thoughts?
I just want to thank everyone for being here today and listen to us talk about the big stuff, because when we craft this conversation, in your ears, it becomes art.